Hey Internet, let's talk for a minute about this Home Depot drywall. I am going to take it back. It's not worth my time, and we'll talk about why it's not worth my time. But first I want to talk about not respecting the customer. All right, 3 times in my life I've gotten in an argument with people who I was buying products from. One, somebody who wouldn't cook my steak well done. Their kitchen doesn't cook well done. Well, it's my body, my choice. I put in what I want. Furthermore, that particular steak was buffalo. And I said, I'm not going to take a risk eating wild animal. You want to give me buffalo, you cook it right. And you can't tell me the Native Americans did put that over a fire and occasionally cook it all the way down. Of course they did. So, and then I got in an argument with the doctor that I don't have anymore. He said, you need the flu shot. And I said, well, not this year. I looked at CDC and the efficacy is below 10%. I'm not interested. I don't fit the demographics. And he called me a flat earther. He says, you're stupid. Do you get all your research from the internet? Well, in that case I did, but the CDC, I didn't go out to flatearth.com. And he and I got in a shouting match, my doctor, because I wouldn't take his shit flu shot that year because I didn't fit the demographics and it was less than 10% effective. Furthermore, the CDC in Canada says you shouldn't take flu shots except when it's a pandemic because then your body builds up a greater resistance. So if you're at risk, get your flu shot. I'm not at risk. I cannot believe. So I had to get an argument with the kid. I left that kitchen. I'll never go back. The restaurant, I'll never go back. I'm not going to argue. If I want a well-done steak, I want a well-done steak. That's my business. If I don't want the flu shot, it's an elective vaccine. That's my business. And then this drywall, I told everybody there, I won't even get into it because it'll just make me stirred up. But everybody there, that's heavy. It's 5/8 inch. It's not your regular stuff. It's heavy. I believe it's 80 pounds a sheet. Go get a fork truck and move it right. And instead, they just tore it all up. Now let me rotate here and show you why I can't accept it and I have to take it back. Okay, so you see all of these little skid marks that they put on by just one man sliding in the back of my truck. And I assisted a little bit, but he was so angry and hostile. Look there, he even cracked the sheet all the way through. I have no idea. That's probably where he put his hand, right? But all of those, they're just little things. No, these little bits right here will get in your mud, and you'll be dragging lines through your mud the rest of your life. Secondly, when the top layer's lifted, the bottom layer isn't water resistant. So when you skim coat it or paint it, the paint soaks in, gets underneath everything, and makes a blister. So you have to prime these a certain way when you damage them. So there you go. Now, that's the top sheet. Secondly, he didn't put, here I've got it, right? I've got it end to end, face to face. That's the right way for it to be. He didn't. He put, I don't know how he managed it, but 3 faces were in contact with ends, and then the bottom wasn't. So all of the faces, if that's just one. Look, see right there, some more of that. See that? How it just got everywhere. And look at the dimples it made, right? That's a lot of extra work. So an extra work I don't want to do. So you can look down all of these. If I keep flipping them, they're all the same way. Now, that's as delivered, right? So I pointed out one sheet I'm noticing in the light has a hole in it. And then I could hear him scraping these on the cart as he was dragging them off the cart and up into my tailgate. These broken edges are inferior edges. I mean, I might cut that edge. That's what I would do if it was a 1. Only, if you'd handled it right and it was 1, I wouldn't be a dick. But it was dark, and he just damaged all these edges. Now, that's a Home Depot worker that I was explaining as a guy who does drywall why this isn't acceptable. Let me show you something here, right? This is my drywall as delivered per my instructions. The only flaws in it are the flaws that I put in it when I put it up on the wall. There's a little gotcha, see? But I could have done that with a ladder, or a board could have fell. But walking through everything, I messed up. I expect that. But look at the face. It's flawless. Look at the edge, right? That edge I broke. I'm going to have to work on that edge myself, But as delivered, if I take a look at these, look at that, see? Put them in the truck the way the customer says. Flawless. They went up flawless. So let me rotate here. What perplexes me most on situations like this is I'm a man who defends himself. Like, I seriously, in a scrap, am willing to defend myself, and people have gotten scratched. I'm willing to make a man bleed if he's willing to insult me, kind of a thing. It takes me a while to get there, but in all of these three cases I gave the example, I put up resistance to the person who was bullying me. And I started really kindly, including the doctor. No, I don't want it. It's my body. It's only temporary. It was all logical, and to be immediately insulted. I used to have a expression, and I'd say, in my mind, a rule of thumb, if I'm insulted needlessly 3 times, then I speak up. And the way I speak up, and it's good, I'll say, I didn't insult you even once, and that's the 3rd time you've insulted me needlessly. Please explain yourself. I'll do that in a business meeting. I'll stop a business meeting, and I'll bring that up, and I'll put the potato on the other person who's being just a bully. I've had a CEO in a company who yelled at people, who yelled at human beings, and he yelled at me, and I said, "Is this the way that you do your relationships, by yelling? Look at me, I can yell too." I did that years before Anchorman Brick, where we're all yelling. And that CEO's face was like, nobody had ever stood up to that dumbass CEO who bullied people. Anyway, going back to me, I do stand up for myself. But on rare occasions, especially if I'm tired, I'll defer or deflect, or I just don't have the energy for the conflict. In that particular case, I just should have told the guy, listen, you don't want to load it the way I want. Just keep it. I'll go to a different vendor. But it was late at night. I was in a hurry. It would have worked perfect with my schedule. Now I have to drive, 100-mile round trip for a few sheets of drywall. I'll go to Lowe's instead, and I'll do an experiment. I won't ask them to get or I will. I'll ask them to get a fork truck, and I'll see if they'll just load my truck the way I want. And the other thing I would have done is I wanted to buy some boards, but the guy had me so frustrated. So I put boards down underneath those, and then the drywall on top of the boards. And that way, if the drywall sticks out a little bit, it has a board to support it. But none of that was done. And I could see, and it's a big deal. Trust me, there's 20 hours of work in those little tiny scratches. It's a ridiculous amount of work that's in those little scratches. So don't accept broken stuff. Don't expect bad shipments. It's all your time. Send it back and get the other stuff. As you see, the rest of the container has drywall that's right. And it's the same customer, same distance, yada, yada, yada. Now, this particular thing of drywall, I think that's toilet tissue paper thin paper. I think it's an inferior product. So I'm going to, go to Lowe's and get it. Plus, I want 12 foots. This was a lot of work to reshim. I only had to reshim 2 spots, and it took me a whole extra day to reshim for a 1/2 inch when I had designed it for 5/8. But standing up for yourself, going back to the thing, I am a man who stands up for himself, and I am telling you, I still get bullied. You have to set healthy boundaries. And if somebody's doing something that is not right, whether it's your doctor or a angry clerk that just hates his job, or a restaurant that's trying to serve you wild animal meat raw, just stand up for yourself. In many places, parents can do that. I mean, the world's really weirdly full of bullies. I mean, bullies should all look like they do in the movies. Biff, he nailed that role. And here he was, a sweet guy in reality, but he nailed the role. But they don't. They come in all sizes and shapes, and they could be itty bitty. But in this case, it's just costing me time that I didn't stand up for myself. So going back to my rule of 3, right? 3 insults. I'm not going to put up with that in a customer-vendor situation. Do it my way, period. Or I'll walk away from the deal. I'm done with compromising with corporations. I'm done. All right, this is Steve. If you feel the same way, clickety-clack your story down below. Like, subscribe, follow me along. Bye.